I do know though, I don't know if it's going to be a follow-up question, but they have glass and they break the glass.
Yes.
Well, hell, I know that. I've watched enough damn movies.
Yeah. They do that.
The NHRA Top-Fueler, top 5 in points, Justin Ashley here in the Freak Nation. And we're talking about this before we went live with you, Justin, that you planned this week nicely where your sister's getting married on an off week. Did she consult with you on your off weeks for drag racing?
No, but I think she should have. Now that I look back, it would have been great if she did, but it happened to work out really well. It was made very clear to me by my family that we are not scheduling this wedding around racing. You better hope that it just so happens to be on an off weekend. And luckily for us, it was. So you can see I'm in a hotel room right now awaiting the wedding coming up tomorrow. So happy for her.
Wait a minute. They made that very clear. She understands she's in a racing family, father, son going on here. Why was that made so clear?
Well, I should have prefaced by saying it was made clear by my mother to the rest of the family that we are having this wedding at whatever the best time to have the wedding in is. And look, hopefully, right, you only get married once and God bless them. I'm excited for them and his family first. So listen, we got lucky this time around and I'm not going to complain about it.
No, that's a good point. And you're coming off a Father's Day win just a few weeks ago. Okay. Family is working out this summer. I get it.
Yeah, that was, man, it's been a great summer, really. I mean, to start off at Bristol, that race has so much prestige to it. I grew up watching my father at that racetrack, so we wanted, knowing it was Father's Day, to be able to go in there and at least have a good day on Sunday, really try and collect that win. But it's one of those deals that you don't really even realize it till later. You get the win and it's all exciting, but then you sleep on it and you wake up the next day and you're like, what really just happened? And it did. So really, it was just an awesome experience, a hot race day, a tricky racetrack, a lot of really competitive races out there. The place was packed as usual. So we're off to a good start to the summer.
You, of course, work closely with Antron Brown. We've had him on several times this year, and the frustration is evident with him. He says he's getting closer, but the question I ask him is like, bro, just walk on over there and lean over Ashley's shoulder and see what the hell they're doing. I'm joking, of course I am, with all of his new parts and pieces, but flying the flag, a little bit of Lucas Oil there on the dragster, and doing what you're doing with this full season, it's not lost on a lot of people that have followed your career, where you've had a dragster, you've had a race car where there were 0 logos on it, and now you got a crap ton of sponsors. Something's going right for you.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really great people. And when you look at that race car, right, you mentioned Antron Brown. He'll be in for the wedding later, so we might have to FaceTimes ourselves in. And he likes to hit the dance floor, so maybe I'll get a video or two for you guys, but we'll save that for later. Yeah, but Antron Brown's another good reason why we got our involvement with Toyota. So that's a primary example of surrounding yourself with the right people and surrounding yourself with good people. And he's been a tremendous help, and everybody really on our whole team has. And one sponsor in particular, Phillips Connect, which we brought on this year, really helped take our program to the next level. And you see our performance grow. You see our program improve and grow as a whole. And that's really because of the commitment that they made to us. And, we really enjoy working with them together. They are phenomenal at what they do, and they are excellent at putting together an execution plan that they're able to work on at the racetrack. So it's just a great relationship. We're excited to work with them. We love working with Vita C Energy and Chip Lofton, and it takes financials to make these cars go. That's no secret. And, we're happy to be in this position and working with the companies that we are.
Hold on. Go back a little bit. I know Statman's chomping at the bit, but go back a little bit. That's very fascinating to me. Antron helped you get Toyota. That I don't know why it intrigues me so much, but it does, because the entire community in the NHRA pits seems to be so helping in, hey, I got this lead for you. Go take it and run with it. Or, hey, let's work on this special part together. Let's see what we can do together. Can you explain a little bit more of that background? Because that is fascinating.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, make no mistake. It starts with this. When you put your helmet on, all that stuff goes by the wayside. You're there to win. It's either your team or the other team, and you go home and you don't want to go home. That's the bottom line. But outside of that, the NHRA community is strong. And, it was mentioned before, Antron and I are teammates this year, and anything that we can do to help each other, we're going to go above and beyond to do that, whether it's performance of the race car or whether it's on and off the racetrack. So he's had a really great relationship with Toyota and Toyota Gazoo Racing North America for a long time. And he was kind enough to make that introduction. And Toyota provides a lot of data, information, and technology. So since we're running as a two-car team, if Toyota can provide that data, information, and technology along with a lot of other really great things to both our teams, it'll help our programs overall become that much better. So that's kind of how our relationship came to be. And he really stepped and went out of his way to put in the good word for us. And it's been a great relationship.
Lucas Oil, it works.
I run Lucas Oil.
It doesn't matter if you're on the water,
Driving to work,
or competing in a sold-out stadium.
Lucas Oil products will help you get the most out of your vehicle.
Monster Jam has run Lucas Oil in and on our trucks for over 10 years.
we wouldn't run anything else.
Lucas Oil, the official oil of Monster Jam.
Justin Ashley, Top-Fuel pilot, NHRA. You talk about how close the paddock is in drag racing, but things are changing in drag racing. There's a new world order coming on in the NHRA. I just noticed that there's, I think, 3 of the top 5 and 4 of the top 10 are guys that used to be backmarkers and didn't even have full season rides. And now they're putting guys on the trailer who've been out there cashing checks for a long time. Does the NHR realize what's going on, that a new world order is coming online?
Yeah, they do. I mean, this Top-Fuel field, the nitro categories in general, all the pro fields, the sport itself is in a really healthy position. But when you look at Top-Fuel, that field is so deep. I mean, no matter where you qualify, you go into race day and it's like, oh, great, right? This is what I get for qualifying 1 or 2. And if you qualify 3 or 4, it just gets even worse. Everybody is so good. You know, you have cars in there that if you want to consider part-time cars, I guess you could, because they're not at every race, but they're really not part-time cars. So you can get put on the trailer at any moment, and this sport will humble you really quick. So NHRA definitely knows what's going on, and it's healthy. It's really good for the sport as a whole. But, you know, these guys that have been around for a long time, Antron Brown, the Torrances, the Kalitas, the Forces of the world, obviously there's some new blood coming into the sport, which is great. But those guys are tough, man. They are just nonstop. They have multi-car teams, and they are tough to beat. And every time you go up against them, the margin for error is so small. So you better bring your A game every qualifying run, every elimination run, because you'll get sent home quick if you don't.
Justin, come on, dude. You know what I'm getting ready to say, Kenny. I mean, you're 4th in points. And, you know, you haven't even been to Denver in your career. And these guys you're putting them on the trailer, dude. I'm sure that there are people walking around in the garage, in their trailers, with a huge smile, popping their collars about, take this.
Maybe that's why I try and stay within my trailer. I don't know. I thought I saw someone walk by and try and pop a hole in our back tire, but I'll let that one go. I won't say any names. No, I mean, look, we've had a really good year. Honestly, we have. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We've ran great 4 final rounds, 2 wins, and our objective is to win every race. And we've been put on the trailer by them plenty of times so far this year. We've had some early exits, but we've had a lot of success. And, you know, look, it feels good to win. It feels great to win for our team, for our entire, base of sponsors, for Phillips Connect, Vitus Energy, Lucas Oil, Toyota, all of our sponsors. But, you know, we got to keep our foot to the floor, man, especially with this countdown setup. It is tough. You said it. We're going into Denver. We're feeling good. We're 4th in the points, but we got to position ourselves well come the countdown, because that's when it really starts. That's when it matters, is when the playoffs start. So we got to stay on our A game, and, you know, to be able to beat some of these guys, like we said, you know, these guys that have been around for a long time, really is exciting for me. I grew up watching a lot of these guys and emulating the way I drive after the way they drive. So to be able to do it, it's really cool. It's something I'm doing my best to cherish the moment.
Let me ask one more here, because this brought a smile to my face. Plainview, New York. That's in Long Island. You go down to the end of the road and turn right. You're in Europe, dude. How does a guy from Plainview, New York become a top-notch drag racer? You're supposed to be, I don't know, you're supposed to be drag racing imports or something, not Top-Fuel, 11,000 horsepower cars.
Let me tell you something. First of all, it's New York, right? New York.
Oh,
but I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a Jewish kid. I'm not supposed to be drag racing. What am I doing here, right?
No.
It's so funny. It's so funny when you look at that and how it comes to be. It's like the most famous question. How did you end up drag racing all this? And look, I was fortunate, right? I grew up around the racetrack. My father, Mike Ashley, raced pro mod, raced funny car for many years. So I grew up around the racetrack. It was a sport from a young age that I fell in love with and wanted to be around and wanted to do for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career, if the right opportunity presented itself. And, still when I go back home and I tell people what I do, I think they still look at me like I have 10 heads. Like, what are you doing, dude? You're from Plainview, New York. Like, go to work and sit in your cubicle all day. I'm like, no, that's not the way we're going to do it. So I think being from New York, not being from Indianapolis or maybe somewhere down south, there's a little bit of a difference. But I think people are starting to catch on a little bit more now.
That make you run harder when you're from Plainview next to Hicksville? Come on.
You know your geography probably better than even I do. I'm impressed, dude. Honestly, I'm impressed.
He's been chased out of more towns than freaking Billy the Kid, man. So
I'm telling you, man, stat man, I'm telling you. So, I mean, look, it makes us run hard no matter what, right? We have that motivation, but there's only a few of us. John Montecavo's around, Vincent Nobile's around. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few others from New York, but we got to do our very best to represent the East Coast.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Well, hold on. You just talked before we got into the New York conversation about how so many of these drivers you are emulating some of things they did successfully to make you a success. I'm sure your dad is one of them. Is Vincent another one? Are you kind of like a New York style driver, or who else are one of those drivers you were referring to that you looked up to and now you're racing against?
Yeah, you're right in New York state of mind there, dude. Come on.
That's right. Billy Joel right there too. I like the references.
Yeah.
So it's funny because, I definitely emulate first and foremost after my father. I'm still learning a lot from him every day. And it's cool because I'll be able to make a run down the track. And obviously the first thing I do is go talk to our crew chiefs, Mike Green and Tommy DeLago, and learn and take from that run what I can from them. But then I'll go back to my father and say, hey, I felt this or that in the car. What do you think? It can be like, Justin, here's what you do. I was already making the run with you, even though I wasn't in the car. So I definitely emulate that, emulate his driving style. Another guy I really emulate is Antron Brown. I grew up watching him drive, and I really appreciate not only the way he drives, but I appreciate his approach to the sport as a professional. He is far and away, in my opinion, the best representative NHRA has for the sport and for his sponsors on and off the racetrack. So he's somebody that I try to emulate my career after. And then the ironic thing is there's not many drag racers from Long Island, like we said, but Vincent Nobile and I went to high school together, which is the weirdest thing because we were in the same high school of all things. He was a few years older than me, but when I was probably like a junior or senior in high school and stuff started to come out about him racing pro stock, that's when I really started to say, well, this is pretty cool. Vincent Nobile can do it. Right here, we're playing baseball together. I can do it too. So that was a pretty funny time.
Wow.
NHRA Top-Fueler Justin Ashley sitting top 4 in points, joining us here in the Freak Nation. And just in case you need a reminder of what was going on when I think you were about 10 years old, let me just share something with you here real quick there, buddy.
As we speak.
Kenny's hair. That's just all we're looking
Pass
at
my
there.
hair. There it is.
It's absolutely beautiful.
There you go.
You've been racing pro mod for about 150
Look at that guy,
years.
buddy.
Now you've got funny cars.
Wow.
You've been to many tracks around the country. Is Las Vegas the #1 track for distractions? No, and I mean that in all seriousness, because you got the strip, you got the women, you got all the crazy things.
Well, I don't know anything about women. I'm married for 15 years, so. But there are a lot of distractions, especially because, I've been seen at the blackjack table a time or two. But I think the biggest distraction for me personally, honestly, I love the track. It's beautiful. The fans here are great. The weather is great, is the trip. 6 hours on a plane coming over here. The 3-hour time difference, it just throws you totally off. For me, being from the East Coast, that's the biggest distraction.
There you go, little East
That
Coast.
is great, guys. Oh, first of all, I love the hair. I'd be remiss if I didn't say anything about the hair. I do like it.
It's just. Yeah, you were 8, 9, 10 years old running around getting everybody's business when your dad was out there full throttle on the quarter mile, bud.
I was running around bugging everybody waiting for my turn. I think that was that was a cool video. And I remember him talking to you guys and be like, oh, he's talking to the Speed Freaks. How cool is that? He's on that show. And then, fast forward and here we are now. So that's fun being able to throw back and look at that stuff in Vegas. Great question, by the way. I'll answer that. Yeah, there are a lot of distractions in Vegas. So man, that is cool. I was definitely running around, probably wreaking havoc in everyone's pit at that point in time.
You were the distraction, dude.
I was the distraction. Yeah, he probably just didn't want to say it, but yeah, I was the distraction.
And the other distraction you got to watch out for, Justin Ashley, Top Fuel pilot. You got to stop saying out loud in public that Antron Brown, I used to watch him when I was a little kid.
You bring up a good point. I do. I mean it. I mean it as a compliment. I'm
sure you do.
I promise. But I do not mean to make anybody feel old. I'm starting to feel old, to be honest with you. But
I bet it doesn't go over well. You can say that when he's not around, but I bet you don't say it too much to his face.
When he's racing motorcycles, that's what you mean.
Yep.
Yeah,
when he's racing, even today, I watch him today and see what he does. That's all.
There you go.
IndyCar, WWT Raceway, Saturday, August 20th, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Icons, legends, and rising stars. Drama at 200 miles per hour. It's not a reality show. It's real life, real fast. The iconic teams, McLaren, Andretti, Foyt, Rahal, Penske, Ganassi. Legendary drivers, Johnson, Kanaan, Castroneves, Newgarden, IndyCar. Only at WWT Raceway.
Well, I don't know what we got accomplished here, Justin Ashley, but I will ask this. They always talk about second half of the season, and I'm always curious from certain drivers. Some of them admit it, yeah, it feels like the second half, and some of them say, no, it's just one long-ass season. With this West Coast swing, it jumps into the second half of the season for the NHRA. Does it feel like a second half of the season, or is it just one long-ass season, Justin Ashley?
I think it's one season, and it's a long season. You try and take it race by race. So you look at it as a marathon, not necessarily a sprint. And you take it race by race and take it one race at a time. And, this is what we love to do, race 22 races a year, and it's a long season, but we love each and every moment of it. We love being around the teams, being around the fans, being around the drivers and the sponsors. The only thing I'll say is, it does kind of feel divided, maybe not midway through the season, but once the countdown starts. It does feel like one long season, but there's something different about those last 6 races, and you can feel it. Normally, Friday and Saturday have a certain intensity to it, and then Sunday, the intensity just naturally picks up. But when it's one of those 6 races during the countdown, those Sundays, feel like they just have that much more importance because they really do. So if anything at all, I think there is some kind of divide between the races before and the races that are during the countdown because there's so much pressure, because there's so much on the line. And the truth is you spent the first 16 races just trying to position yourself for these final 6 races. And once that moment's there, it's just about focusing and trying to capture that opportunity.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Are you one of the drivers? I mean, you've only driven in the countdown era, but do you still hear negativity from other drivers? This countdown sucks. I hate resetting the points. And are you a fan of it or not a fan of it?
Sure, I still hear it. I'm a fan of it. The truth is I'm a fan of it because I think when you look at any sport, I follow a lot of sports. I'm a big football fan, football, baseball, basketball. You're the number 1 seed. You go into the playoffs and you have to play 3 or 4 games to make it to the championship or the Super Bowl or whatever it might be. It's just the way it is. Everybody has their own playoff format, and NHRA has their playoff format. Now, also, it's easy for me to say when, I wasn't first in the points and I didn't have a big lead. And if that was the case, I might feel differently about it, just being honest. But no, I do like the playoff format. I think that's the way sports is. There's a regular season and there's a playoffs. So I can understand the rationale, the reasoning behind why they do it and why they wouldn't want to do it, especially for drivers in the past who have had big point leads now. But I think for me, it's exciting. I think it's great for the fans because ultimately it comes down to the end. And most of the time, it's going to come down to Pomona. And at Pomona, the championship's going to be decided.
Great answer. Nice.
Well, I think the questions that are missing here is this going to be a Jewish wedding with your is it going to be a Jewish wedding?
Yeah, it's going to be a Jewish wedding. It's going to be a Jewish wedding, but it's going to be a good it'll be a good wedding. I don't really know. Honestly, I should know more details than I actually do. I'm guilty of not really of kind of just like being in my own world. So I don't know too many details. I'm just figuring out like what time the wedding is tomorrow and stuff, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of people.
Are you in the wedding? Are you in the wedding?
I'm in the wedding. Yeah, I'm in the wedding. I'm a groomsman in the wedding, and I absolutely love her fiance, Steve. He's awesome. He's fantastic. Just in case he's watching this, Steve. But I'm in the wedding. I'm just gonna double check and make sure it is tomorrow. But I'm in the wedding.
Okay. Well, my point was this: is I've got some questions about the Jewish wedding. I need some confirmation from you, my friend.
Do, if I can answer them. But
I'm sure you can. Listen. You've been Jewish all your life, so I figured you understand. Right?
That's true. I have been, yes.
And your mom. Listen, I know you. I remember meeting your mom, and I knew exactly who not only runs the family that runs that portion of Long Island. It's your mom. All right, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, what's in a Jewish wedding, a Jewish marriage? There's something that comes in handy for the bride and the groom. What is a chuppah?
I don't know. I don't know what a chuppah is. And I can make something up right now. I really could. I don't know what it is. What is it called? What is it? What is a chuppah? Do you know what it is?
It's a canopy, man. Everybody has.
Okay, so it's what you get married underneath, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but now I know. I do know though. I don't know if it's going to be a follow-up question, but they have glass and they break the glass.
Yes.
Hell, I know that. I've watched enough damn movies.
Yeah. They do that. Yeah. Is that a Jewish thing or that's just a wedding thing? That's a Jewish thing,
right?
I
think it's a Jewish thing.
I think it's like a
okay.
It's like
a mafia thing.
Yeah. When it's all over, it's like jumping the broom. Yeah.
There you go.
By the way, Kenny is Googling this. So you're making Justin look bad as if you know all this stuff, Kenny. It's the Googles.
I didn't know you were Googling. You got thrown onto the bus really quick. I didn't know you were Googling.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what is the bride? What's the Jewish term for the bride?
Bridezilla. I don't know. What is it?
Close. The kala. She's a kala.
A kala.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
The groom. I don't know how you pronounce it. The shaitan.
Okay.
Or Satan.
What? No.
Shaitan.
I'll tell you what, this is good, just so you know, by the way, and I don't mean to interrupt, because now I can go to the wedding and people are going to think I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Hey, Kala, that's
What's
my
up?
sister.
The ceremony includes two distinct rituals: the betrothal, which is and the completion of the marriage itself is called a niyuzin. Oh,
okay. No, I'm cutting this conversation right here. In the middle of one of our shows, Kenny was reading a story. And when you read a story, clearly you don't necessarily, your mind doesn't compute, how to actually pronounce something.
Right.
He was reading a Jewish story. This was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
It was longer than that.
And how did you pronounce a certain very common Jewish piece of clothing?
Have you ever had to say Krzyzewski's name after looking at it?
Don't even go Mike Krzyzewski on me right now. Say what you said wrong.
Well, I phonetically sounded out yarmulke.
But how did you say it when you were reading that one?
Yamoki.
It's definitely yarmulke, not yamoki. That one I could have answered. That's a listen. If you're gonna try and sound it out, I get it.
Don't even sympathize with him.
No.
That's one of the most common words he should have known. Yamoki. Now I just say it. Yarmulke.
I just know that one thing is very important in a Jewish wedding. That's wine. You got plenty of that?
Oh, there's plenty of wine. There'll be plenty of wine. That much I can tell you. That I know. There'll be plenty of wine, plenty of music, plenty of dancing.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if he learned anything with the Jewish Q&A when it comes to Jewish weddings, but
but he's going to Google now.
Are you kidding? Now I'm going to Google. I'm going to know everything.
Yep.
So when people get to the wedding, they're like, "How come this guy knows everything?" I'd be like, "I just know it.
It's my culture, man.
I was prepared for the wedding."
Bang.
Went to Freak Nation school.
Oh no!
What do you think, Justin? What do you think of this canopy? What? This is a chuppah.
Exactly.
Willis, chuppah. Settle down.
People got to get on their game. They got to know their vocabulary like we do.
Oh no!
But this is awesome, man. Thank you for doing this, Justin. I'd probably rather say good luck this weekend than Mount High Nationals,
than
right?
Denver.
Yeah.
No, look, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. And thank you for having me on. Really cool to be on your show. I always tune in and watch all the time. So appreciate it.
Well, tell the old man we said hello, and I'm sure we'll see him before the next wedding.
We'll do. Absolutely.
The next one, yeah.
Next wedding.